Very short stream, an announcement stream here, announcement video. Major news. We're going for Latterly 2.0. So Latterly is how I teach people to code, basically. It's the brand I use. There's open source, is the Latterly slides. And then there's a closed source website as well. So here's the open source, highly regarded educational curriculum. Okay, so we're talking about both of these. And then here's the website, latterly.io. Currently, it'll forward you to a Teachable site. Both of these are under the Latterly brand. Basically, the paid site will let you, it kind of walks you through the open source curriculum, basically. But they're both pointing at the same core, which is that Latterly educational curriculum. And it's time to take it a level up. We're going to level up the core curriculum in a major way. So that's what this announcement is about. Glad you're here. If you're new to the channel, please like, subscribe, share it with your family. It's good for the algorithm, all that. We're trying to bring people into tech and improve the educational quality of getting into tech. I don't know if you tried taking a computer science course in high school or university. It's not a great experience. And there are a lot better ways to learn. Okay, so let's get into Latterly 2.0. What is it? This is going to be the best way to break into tech in 2024 and later. So to be clear, this is not rolling out this week. This is not rolling out next month. I'm going to be building Latterly 2.0 in public. And that's why you should really follow along to the YouTube channel. The link's right here. I'm going to be building this in public. You'll get to see the code that I'm writing. It's going to be open source. So basically, I'm estimating it's going to be complete by the end of the year, and then it will help people break into tech in 2024. There is the major hiring cycle in Q1. So like January, February, March is one of the major hiring windows in the year in programming in the US. And the other is like around there's kind of three. There's that Q1, then there's around August, and then there's also usually a cram around November, December that only affects some like contracting roles. Basically, people want to cram in some contractors and try and get their projects done by end of year. And they're not all equally large. The Q1 is like the big one. So when I say 2024, I'm hoping to help people knock out that Q1 hiring cycle. So I'm not wanting to delay. Like, let's get on this train and let's start studying now. Because if you join me now, watching, learning. Oh, hey, Wendy, thanks for being here. If you want to get hired in Q1 of 2024, you should be starting to learn now. That will give you about 6 months of experience, which is what you need to look good as a junior candidate for that entry-level role. If you want to get hired in Q1 of 2024, here's the wrong time to start learning 2024. You need to start learning now. And so even though this will be completed in 2024, I'm going to get started building it now, and I hope you'll join me now. So this is not like it's irrelevant at the moment, even though it's going to peak, let's say. It'll peak in quality next year. Okay, so what is in this curriculum? It includes a React coding curriculum. That's kind of table stakes for breaking into tech these days. This is not a differentiator. This is just table stakes. There's a community. This is also table stakes. There's a Discord. You can come up. I mean, there's a bunch of social channels, right? So if you're following the YouTube, you can chat in the comments. Like, that counts as community. On Twitter, you might join a Twitter space and chat with someone, or just engage in the Twitter thread. Okay, so there's also this community, which is not really unique. And in fact, I often refer people to other communities, like the Free Code Camp Discord is going to be bigger. And so anyway, it's table stakes, but it's also important because having a community helps you social network, land a job, and it also helps you learning by learning on a team, project-based learning, team-based learning, social, emotional learning. If you make it social and if you develop emotional connection with other people and you're in this together, you're actually going to learn better. Learning by doing, learning by teaching, right? You might not think of yourself as a teacher, but if you get in a group with 4 other people, one of those people is the most knowledgeable in the group. Even if they're all junior, there's going to be a bit of cross, like peer teaching, basically, and that improves learning. Jake, thanks for the follow. Thanks for being here. Major announcement. Okay, so these two things are kind of table stakes. they're included, but they're not the exciting part yet. Although it will be nice that, we'll get there in a minute, because that kind of is a differentiator. The third thing is the part that keeps it sustainable for me. You say, hey, John, is this a scam? Why are you doing hours and hours of work for other people? And the answer is, I can charge like 1% of people, or like less than 1% of people. I haven't run the numbers lately, but I think it's like around or under 1%. And they can basically pay me enough to give the 99% of people a bunch of really high quality free material. And I personally like that business model. I don't know about you. If you have a better one, let me know, drop it in the chat. But that basically keeps it sustainable, as I have this open source layer. And then I say, hey, everyone go learn here. And if you're having trouble learning, then I can do either one-on-one consultation or maybe group teaching. And I can collect a fee for that, and it keeps it sustainable. So if you're interested in that, here's the Latterly website today. If you scroll down, there's two options. You can enroll in the free course. You can also do a consultation with me. And I don't really hard sell you on my stuff. I often will push you over to a boot camp or a university degree or like someone else's course. But there is a time and place where for some people it makes sense for them to do one-on-one calls with me. Okay. And that consultation will just walk you through the options. It's not actually like kicking off a program with me unless we decide like mutually to go that way. So that's the third thing. Again, this is kind of table stakes. These first three items are sort of boring in a way. These are like your normal way that educational courses go, at least if they're going to take this sort of like open source orientation, which is kind of rare, but it's not unheard of. Like FreeCodeCamp does this, Odin Project does this. So there's a number of like what we would today call fair, like moderately high quality open source options. Latterly is going to blow all these out of the water. I think Latterly today is already better than those options. Not trying to knock those options, they're great. But it's just going to really be no comparison in this 2.0 era. So let's get to the exciting stuff now. The first thing is that we are updated for the Create Next App era. So React today, so basically the FreeCodeCamp React course is old, and so is the Odin Project React course. If you go to the React docs today, the React docs themselves have entered a new era. These docs are old, you see? Go to React Dev for the new docs. So there's new docs, and if you look at what these new docs say, they are telling you to develop in a different way. Basically, Create React App is old, and Create Next App is the new state of the art. Next.js has been popular for a while, but it's not included in these like FreeCodeCamp, Odin Project, and even Codecademy, which is a paid option. They have some free stuff and some paid stuff. Their best stuff is paid. All of these places are now basically outdated in the late 2023 / 2024 plus era. And so that is where Latterly is going to really start to differentiate itself. Yes, it's another course teaching React, but we're teaching it in the new way. And these other places are just too slow to update. And I'm going to show you how we're going to be able to update faster. And the answer is through AI. AI is going to enable my course to be built extremely fast. Okay, and that brings us to the next point. AI-driven, continuously updated and versioned course. This is a major differentiator. So all of the things that we've talked up to now are either table stakes or a minor differentiator. At some point, Codecademy is going to update their stuff, right? It's just going to take them longer. But it's a minor differentiator. What they don't do is they don't have an AI-driven, continuously updated and versioned course. When Codecademy or FreeCodeCamp or Odin Project kicks off a course, it's pretty much stable for a while. This AI, being AI-driven, is going to allow the course to pivot rapidly when needed. But the certification will not lose its meaning because there will be versions. So you'll be able to say like Q1 2024 Latterly certification. Your coaching is only limited to Canadians, as it says on the website. No, it's not. What? Does it say that? I should probably fix that. Canada. What does it say about Canada? I don't see anything about Canada. I primarily work with people in the United States, occasionally someone from Canada or the UK, and I really don't work outside of those markets because I've had people ask me, but I'm just unable to meet the needs of other markets. Basically, I've had a bunch of people ask me to facilitate immigration to the US, and I really am not capable of that. It's not my specialty. And so, yeah, if you're non-US citizen, I think the learning material is great for you, but the coaching option probably won't be great for you. I just learned Apache Airflow using ChatGPT. Are you worried that AI will take away business? No. Are you listening to the update? I'm using AI. Oh my God, am I on the wrong website? I'm in latterly.ca. Okay. Yeah, latterly.io. Latterly.io, which will then forward you to latterly.teachable.com. So this is the site. And then you can also check out the open source repository, and I think there's a link around there somewhere. Cool. All right, good clarification. Let me see if there are any questions in the YouTube chat as well. Looks like we're good. We're up to date. Okay. So we're going to use AI. What does that mean? This is like another guy who's like, I'm using AI. I'm going to use it in a very concrete and open source way. Frankly, it's already been established and awarded. This is an award-winning transformer called Rect. It's open source. It came in second place in a hackathon sponsored by Supabase. They've given me some awesome stuff. I'll show it off sometime that I got for winning. And this tool, which was sort of like born in a hackathon, we're going to level it up. Rect has 4 outputs. That's why it's called Rect, like a rectangle. There are 4 points. We're going to up-level it to 7. So there will be 7 outputs. I'm not diving into what they all are today, but I'll just tell you at the high level, the main one that's interesting right now is that it will be generating a textbook. So it's going to consume all of my social content, my TikToks, my YouTube videos, my blog articles. The AI will consume that and then output a textbook. And it will be able to do that in a living way. If I make 5 TikToks in July, the AI will just read those and update the textbook. Do you see how this will accelerate so that the whole course can be on the bleeding edge? I don't have to go through the effort of rebuilding the course because React had a new release that changed some things or Next changed some things. I can just make it a few TikTok videos or YouTube shorts, and the whole educational process is basically living and basically just upgrades. You see why this is a game changer? Hopefully I'm getting the picture across. So this is the fastest way. Is Odin Project outdated? I'll do a different stream on Odin Project. It's in some ways better than Free Code Camp, but that's not like a high bar to pass. The interesting thing about Free Code Camp is that it's valuable because it is widely recognized. It's not valuable because the content is that good. The content is actually, I would say, mediocre at best, but the brand is so well appreciated that when it shows up on your resume, employers are like, oh, Free Code Camp, I know what that is, that's great, even though it's actually mid. Odin Project, the content is, I would say, better than Free Code Camp, although still not particularly good when you compare it to some of the paid options on Udacity or like an actual boot camp or an actual degree. So the comparison is often between these open source models of Odin Project and Free Code Camp. And if we're looking at the educational content, I think Odin Project wins. The problem is it is way less known. So to the point that it has basically no effect on employers. They're like, Odin who? You have to be like, there's a small number of people who even know what Odin Project is. Look, this will be brief. I'll just show you the stars. I'll just show you the stars to get the point across. So you see Odin Project stars is 2.5K, okay? And these effects are non-linear. So literally 2.5K, and then mine has like 15 stars. Latterly has like 15 stars. And really from the employer perspective, there's not a significant difference there, believe it or not, between 2.5 and then Free Code Camp is just on another level. So let's go over to Free Code Camp. So remember 2.5K. freecodecamp.org. Here's the site. You can sign up for free. Let me jump over to the GitHub. Maybe this is not the best way to jump over to the GitHub. Free Code Camp GitHub. By the way, if you go over to YouTube or Twitch, you can see the full screen. Nerf Scuttler, good to see you here. Thanks for being here. So if you're on TikTok and you're like, hey, it's kind of hard to see, go over to the YouTube. All of the streams will be going to YouTube and playlists will be collected on YouTube. So really subscribing to that YouTube is really important here. Okay, 2.5K versus 366,000 stars. That's not an order of magnitude. That's more, you could say that it's 2 orders of magnitude, but it's almost like 2.5 orders of magnitude if you're allowed to do half orders, right? It's a huge, huge, enormous difference in and what those stars indicate. Again, it's not necessarily quality. It's a volume measure. It's a recognition measure. So all of these hundreds of thousands of people, and only a fraction of the people that see it will star it, right? So, you can run the numbers for yourself. But basically, there are millions of people that are involved in the Free Code Camp ecosystem. And that is why it's so well recognized. And that's why it becomes a valuable cert. And so a question might be, hey, John, why am I dealing with Latterly? Why don't I just go for Free Code Camp? And the answer is, well, Latterly is going to tell you to execute a Free Code Camp cert, get it on your resume, and then do some additional things to actually be good. So I don't want to delve into the curriculum itself, but saying Latterly versus Free Code Camp is really apples and oranges, because I have no ability to combat that reputation. So I just subsume it. I say, yeah, go get one of their certs, put it on your resume, and then learn all this other stuff that's actually good for you coding. Has TypeScript become widespread yet? Yes, it is. Yes, it is. And that's another thing that's different in this era. So when we say create next app, best way to break into tech in 2024, okay, updated for the create next app era. Guess what? Create next app is TypeScript. You can choose to do it in JavaScript, but that is abnormal. That's abnormal. And I would say, frankly, unacceptable. It is not the normal path of use of next app. Now, as you're learning, you need to go JavaScript first and then TypeScript. But for me, I'm going to say you're job ready after you know some TypeScript. This is recorded on YouTube. Yes, so it's being live streamed to YouTube, but it will be saved when the stream is over, right? Is 4 hours a day for 3 months enough time to learn DSA? For some people. So let's do a one-on-one consult if you're interested. The answer is that that's enough for some people, and for a lot of people, no. A lot of people will need more time, but some people can do it in that time frame. Okay, back on track. So you've gotten the big picture, how I'm able to leverage AI, specifically this open source tool called Rect. How can I sign up for a one-on-one? Check my bio, or again, go to Latterly, like a ladder, latterly.io. And if you scroll down, you can sign up for the free consult right here. By the way, it might not be a free consult for much longer because the volume is kind of hard to deal with. So I might start charging for a consult. So get it while it's free. Amazing. You are very, very welcome. Thank you for being here. Thanks for supporting the channel. Okay. You've gotten the big picture of how I can use AI, specifically this Rect tool that we're going to update to 7. And I haven't told you all about 7, but basically it's building a textbook. It's going to continuously build this like living textbook, basically. Which, by the way, I don't want to get into the open source textbook space, but if you look at like OpenStax, like the open source textbook that exists today, they're not good, basically. The textbooks are not good. So this is going to be an open source AI-driven textbook. It's literally going to be levels higher in content quality compared to the state of the art. And that's something that's really hard for me to get across clearly until it's done. And that's why you should join me as I build it, and you will see it with your own eyes. I won't have to convince you it's better. You'll just get your mind blown, and you'll be like, dude, this is like so much better than OpenStax textbooks, for example. So again, please follow the YouTube channel, which I'm going to use as the anchoring point. Bits of this, if you're on Twitch, if you're on TikTok, if you follow my Instagram, if you follow my Twitter, you'll see bits of this, because bits of it, if you follow the blog, right? And by the way, you can go to my bio, and like all the links to all this are going to be in my bio, regardless of what channel you're on. If you follow other channels, you're going to get some of this experience, but I'm really using YouTube as the anchoring point. And so I'll quickly sum up why. And basically that is because there are going to be these 2 playlists that are going to live on YouTube. So technically, the AI will consume a YouTube playlist. technically. That's going to be the end state. And so that is why the YouTube playlist becomes this real source of truth. And so the information is in a bunch of places, but the cleaned, finalized playlist that the AI is basically learning from to make the textbook is going to be on YouTube. That's why I'm pushing YouTube. Okay, so you get the point, right? Open source job search tools. This is a differentiator. Other courses do not come with these high quality tools like Starboy, which is a STAR method anecdote organizer for behavioral interview prep. Show me the Udacity course that comes with something like this. You might be able to find one or two that they will give you an actual tool, not just verbal advice, but an actual tool that you can use. Okay. I'm not saying that there are 0 of them, but I am going to say that when you get to the collection of all the tools I'm talking about, there are 0 of them. And I'm also saying there are very, very few that even have this much, and that the ones that even have this much, there's this trade-off between the educational content and then the tools. And so there will often be some compensation where, man, this course was kind of junky, but the tool was cool. And so that's how they got the student outcomes up. And then on the other hand, man, these tools are really terrible, but the educational quality was pretty good. And that's how they end up with these acceptable student outcomes. This is going to be a level higher. This is going to be a win on both fronts. Like Free Code Camp, we talked about the course, but they don't have these tools, right? So this is why we're getting into major differentiation territory. And that was just one tool. There's a bunch of other tools. Walk you through how to navigate the job search, track your job search conversion from like application to interview, and then how to understand what changes you need to make in your job search strategy. So for example, if you're blasting out your resume and then you're only getting this low percentage conversion to an interview, you might be missing a social networking step. You might be either not doing it or doing it and saying the wrong things. Your frequencies might be off. Like you might be doing social networking, just not enough of it. Your resume might have some flaw inside of it. You might be missing keywords, failing ATS. There's a bunch of things that could be happening, and we're going to give you the tools to solve those. What site are you on, says William. This is notepad.js.org. This is a pretty fun little quick tool if you want to just jot down some notes. It's kind of like Notepad, but it's in the browser. Okay. So we talked about that we're going to have actual tools. We're going to have job search education. A bunch of courses have job search education. Let me tell you why this is an academic level differentiator, because I have a PhD and I have academic work in this area. So for example, Hireability and Educational Prestige is like my go-to here, where there's a bunch of people who talk about like coding boot camps, but I have academic work on coding boot camps. So like I have like, when you talk about levels of quality, we're both talking about like me, like who's a really famous chef? Bobby Flay. Like me and Bobby Flay can both make mac and cheese, but his mac and cheese is just like another level. You see what I mean? And so do not underestimate the difference in content quality between when other people talk about job search advice and when I talk about job search advice. There is a order of magnitude difference here. This is an academic level differentiator. Your nationality, please. I'm American. Pretty nifty. Thank you. Is it possible to actually take coding to the next level, like get a good job with just a GED? It's possible. It's not easy. Yes, you can do it. Hit me up if you need help. I love helping people from alternative backgrounds. I have an alternative background too. I don't have a CS degree. I have a bunch of degrees, including a PhD in economics where I studied the labor market for tech, and I studied coding boot camps. So it's not like I'm uneducated, but I do have an alternative background compared to the traditional CS student, traditional programmer. So and I'm also a self-taught programmer, taught myself to code. So hit me up if I can help. I really am passionate about helping, whether you have an alternative background or not. But anyway, let's not get too far off track. Okay. Another thing that other people are missing is soft skills. If you look at employers, if you ask them, hey, people coming out of coding boot camps and even people coming out of college, and when I say people, I mean programming role candidates. So the people coming out of college we're talking about are generally CS graduates. There are some other courses. They're like software engineering graduates, there's even like web development courses at some colleges. But basically they are in the job family candidacy of like software engineer, programmer, web developer, backend developer, front end, full stack, the whole family of these jobs. What are they missing? Employers say soft skills. They are missing soft skills, both the college graduates as well as the boot camp graduates. It's worse for the boot camp graduates. And so you often get this sort of like this argument that like college is better because of soft skills. Well, there's a bunch of flaws in that. First of all, the average CS graduate has less soft skills than the average college graduate. So when we say coding boot camp versus college, there's a little bit of equivocation that goes on because there's a bunch of non-CS college people that are bringing the soft skill thing up. Like English majors are not applying for programming jobs typically. There's a few that do. And so their programming skills would be really bad. Their soft skills would be a little bit better. And so when you average across English majors and CS majors, it looks like the average college student has higher soft skills, but the one who is in the pipeline for the programming job family is actually lower. And so you need to dive into the stats there to separate that out. Okay, that's the first thing that goes on. The second thing that goes on is like, even CS versus bootcamp, the CS is better, but they're both bad. They're both bad. So we need to emphasize soft skills. And this is an academic level differentiator because, again, I've done research on the soft skills that employers want for programmers specifically in the tech industry specifically. You'll have some courses where they do this like quick like unit, or they like, it might even be just part of one video where they're like, hey, by the way, work on your soft skills. Again, when Bobby Flay cooks mac and cheese, when I cook mac and cheese, his is just a lot better, even though we're arguably doing the same thing in air quotes. Good Lord, they're both bad. It's true. Go ask the employers. Ask if you ask like big tech, take a sample of any of the 5 big tech companies and ask them in their junior candidates, people who are trying to get their first role as a programmer, what is their major deficiency? It's going to be soft skills, whether they're coming out of coding boot camps or college. Okay. And even mid-level programmers, ask their managers. If you poll their managers and you say, hey, what are the major skill deficiencies in your mid-level programmers? They're not saying that they're missing a bunch of technical skills. They're saying they don't know how to communicate is the big differentiator between like a mid-level and a senior programmer. They don't know how to communicate. They don't know how to lead. They don't know how to influence. They don't know how to persuade. They're missing soft skills. They don't know how to network. If they do know how to communicate, they over-communicate without nuance, right? So there's this meme that over-communication is better than under-communication. And while true, if you are that loud programmer in the room and you're dominating the conversation and you are not encouraging a diverse conversation where we say, hey, that person is being recluse, let's actually poll them and get their opinion so that we can have a diverse opinion and a group opinion. And if you're just stomping on that conversation, you're really missing a skill that is essential for a truly great programmer. Okay, I digress. Basically, yeah, you're going to get Bobby Flay's mac and cheese. You're going to get Bobby Flay's mac and cheese when it comes to soft skill differentiation in Latterly 2.0. What about prompt engineering? This is another major differentiator. The vast majority of courses don't talk about prompt engineering at all. These days, you'll see a couple things. First of all, you'll see dedicated prompt engineering courses that don't teach you how to code. They don't teach you how to land a job. They don't teach you about soft skills. They just teach you about prompt engineering. And there's a few of these that are frankly pretty good. But they haven't been synthesized into standard learn to code curriculum. So that's going to be a major difference. The other major difference is that even these dedicated prompt engineering courses are not at the edge of the academic literature. So things like reflection, things like chain of thought prompting. Let me know, drop in the chat if you have taken a prompt engineering course that touched on Smart GPT, how to combine reflection with chain of thought prompting. I have not seen even like the experts on prompt engineering, I have not seen them actually mention this in their courses. They might mention it in a tweet, like, whoa, this is really cool. And then it's like not in their course. And so their students are like 2 months behind the bleeding edge. But here's the thing, 2 months behind the bleeding edge, you can look at that two ways. You can say, hey, that's not bad, right? They're still better than the average junior level programming candidate, right? If they're 2 months behind the bleeding edge. This is true, but what about the person who's 0 months behind the bleeding edge? Aren't they going to look kick ass in a junior level interview? Isn't that a major differentiator? The answer is yes. Shot you a message when you get the chance. Thanks, William. Thanks for being here. Hope you're doing well. I'll get to that as soon as I can. Okay. So that's going to be a major differentiator. That's also going to help you learn, because as a student, if you are like basically as a student, you should be leveraging LLMs these days. In 2024 plus, that's what you should be doing. It's going to help you learn. You can rubber duck with the GPT. You can treat the GPT like a bit of a mentor and a sounding board. In the traditional way, your mentor might be busy. I might shoot an email to my mentor. It might be a week before I hear back. And so you can close that feedback loop and get high level, like basically expert level advice, or within a few percent of expert level advice, very, very fast. And it's going to help you learn, and you don't need to go like it's so crazy to say that Google is old. A Google search is old now. When I was learning to code, Google, and even for Latterly 1.0, Google searching is the key developer skill, because you need to be able to access the knowledge that answers your question. In the Latterly 2.0 age, that's a fallback plan. In the Latterly 2.0 age, you start with the LLM. If the LLM is like hallucinating or not able to give you a good answer, or it's out of date, and these sort of edge cases, then you go over to Google. But the base case now is that you start with the LLM. William says Stack Overflow for the win. Yeah, and that's true, but it's so crazy to say that Stack Overflow is a fallback plan now. Look at this. Stack Overflow traffic victim. Stack Overflow traffic victim. Stack Overflow is a ChatGPT casualty. Traffic is down 14%, and then it's going to say in the last month is the rest of the title there. So when I say we, programmers are substituting GPT for Stack Overflow, which is a mind-blowing thing. Yeah, wow in the chat. I agree. I'm going to teach you the strategies. Like why is that the case? Is it because like programmers are having this like virus of shiny object syndrome? No, the answer is because the GPT does a better job. As much as we love Stack Overflow, we're still having to browse through questions and answers to get to one of the that's relevant to us. GPT is immediately relevant, even if you poorly word your question. And that is why it is the primary knowledge check location. Everything else now is a fallback plan. That's why Google is trying to integrate large language model technology into Google search, because Google search itself is becoming a fallback plan. They're losing traffic, they're losing billions. And so this is the new world. How to prompt engineer. We're going to tell you about it. We're not just going to tell you you should prompt engineer and basic stuff like task and role. We are going to get you on the cutting edge, chain of thought prompting, smart GPT, integrated reflection, not just reflecting by itself. You need to integrate these techniques properly. Split out multiple answers, review, have GPT select the best. How to integrate different LLMs if needed. Oh, GPT-4 can't access the internet. Better go use Bard, right? Well, Bard has its own problems. Well, how can I get the best of both worlds? We'll tell you. Number 10, I don't know. I want a list of 10, so tell me what I'm missing. It's like saying that I have 9 features. Feels kind of weird. Maybe swag or something. Tell me what I'm missing. Okay, so that's the first big announcement. The second big announcement is I just crossed 2,000 TikTok videos. Let me show you on repurpose.io. There's a bit of a lag. I think I published right before I started the stream. And so sometimes it takes an hour or two for it to catch up. No, it's right at 2,000. There you go. There you go. So we're at 2,000 TikTok videos. Why should you care about that? Well, as I told you, So my social media content is largely educational. That's what I do. So if you're looking to learn to code, please follow me on all the channels. And this is the main thing I do, is that I teach people how to code and land a job in addition. Not just code, but also land the job, which is its own skill set and equally as difficult. And then I do some humor stuff, and I do an occasional lifestyle piece, but it's primarily educational. And so this social media content feeds into an AI, which then filters out and makes a textbook, is the idea. So that's why it's important that I've hit this number of 2,000 TikToks. And I am going to do a TikTok review series where I create YouTube videos that go through my TikToks and basically rapidly filter out, hey, like which ones of these are educational, which one of these are humor. And we separate them out so that I can isolate that educational content in its own video series, and I can have my AI consume only that, which improves the educational signal to the AI because it's not mixed in with humor. You know, if an AI took my TikToks right now, it might make like a textbook that had like humor in it, which maybe that would appeal to some people. Maybe at some point we'll try that out. But in the classic mental model of education, it can be a bit of a distraction, right? So I'm going to clean up the signal, basically, by doing this review series. And we'll also be able to consolidate 2,000 TikToks into maybe 20 videos or so. That will, even for viewers, forget about the AI, even for you, what's easier for you to watch 20 videos, which admittedly is a lot, but isn't that still easier than you to go through 2,000 TikToks, maybe honestly half of which are not educational. They're more to do with humor, like memes or something. Or if they are educational, they're duplicated. Like it's like a similar message to something that you already heard. I have social media analytical data, and the answer is that a lot of people drop off really fast. So cleaning it up, improving the level of like production quality. So if you look at a bunch of my videos in the past, I don't really emphasize production quality. It's been a sort of like a volume approach. And if I only have 20 videos to worry about, and if those 20 videos are really highly impactful to my final output quality, I have now an incentive to invest more intensively in those 20 videos and the production quality, right? Okay, so we're going to do this review series. And then, so the review series is going to make these videos, and then we're going to pass that to Seven. And I've basically already told you what Seven is. It's an AI that, the main thing I want to call out today, it's producing a textbook. And that textbook will drive Latterly 2.0. So thanks again for being here. I hope you will follow the YouTube channel. Here's the YouTube channel link. The first stream will be later today. The first stream to build Seven will be later today. This is not a plan that we're starting. It will be 6 months of hard work that I'm committing to here. Okay, so we're going to be grinding if you're watching, or I'm going to be grinding and you're going to be watching me grind if you participate. Although pull request welcome if you want to get in there and get your hands dirty with the code, and that could look great for you when it comes to application time to have a referral from me because you contributed to a major open source educational program. So get out here and get in the community, join the Discord, and let's chat if you want to do that. My point is that please don't delay in subscribing to the channel. Like, do it now so that you don't forget, because I'm going to start working on it today. Okay, cool. All right, and that does it in terms of the announcement. So thank you for being here. Again, this was an announcement about Latterly 2.0, game-changing educational change for Latterly.io. Hope you have a great rest of your day. See you later.